And what did Tampa do when they lost Liam Cohen? You know what I don't like? They hired a guy who was in-house. Now the offense stinks. Baker didn't get worse. They added Imuka, the receiver from Ohio State. They should be a better offense. And Imuka, they should be a better offense.
And that is what I want to talk about, because I want to know why Baker Mayfield gets that benefit of the doubt, but Jalen Hurts doesn't. I want to know that when the offense gets worse, or Jalen, that offense isn't as good, it's all because of Jalen. It's all because Jalen isn't tall enough. He's not great enough. He's not a big enough playmaker. I want to know why that's the case, especially for a quarterback who has beaten every single great elite quarterback in the NFL, every single one of them. He's beaten Mahomes many times. He actually, I don't know if you guys know this, it's kind of crazy. Jalen Hurts, seriously, this is one, I'm not making this up, I promise you. Look it up yourself. Look it up yourself. I'm not making it up. I promise you, it's going to sound crazy. I know it, but I swear it's 100% true. Just Google it yourself, okay? They probably even have it on YouTube. Just search highlights. Jalen Hurts beat Patrick Mahomes in the Jalen Hurts beat Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts actually won a Super Bowl MVP and has multiple Super Bowl records in multiple Super Bowls. He actually played, people don't realize this, he played in 2 Super Bowls, and in the game that he lost in that Super Bowl, he scored the most points of any Super Bowl loser in Super Bowl history and set the record for rushing. I mean, like, had a crazy game. Yeah, I know people don't realize that. And he beat Matthew Stafford multiple times. Beat Matthew Stafford in the playoffs. Beat Jordan Love. Beat Jared Goff. Beat Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. He's done it all. But when there's problems with the offense and with the Eagles, even though they keep hiring a new coordinator every single 5 minutes, I think, oh, did they just hire another one? We just want to look at Gay and Hurts as the fundamental problem. And his limitations, it's like, what? Why does Jalen not get any of that benefit of the doubt? None of it. And it's really funny because we talk about these other quarterbacks, and Colin says that these other quarterbacks are too coordinator dependent. And, to be fair, he says in this clip, Baker's too coordinator dependent, and he's not at the level of a Stafford and this or that. And it's like, well, Jalen, though, has beaten those guys and has competed and has done things better than many of those guys in the biggest moments. Jalen Hurts has played a better Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls better than Matthew Stafford ever has. That's just the reality. And they both were on great rosters. Do not try to pretend like Stafford did not have plenty to work with, or that he also didn't have a great defense. Like don't give me any of that nonsense. I don't want to hear any of it. Also had an elite coach that Colin thinks is literally the second best coach under the GOAT Andy Reid with Sean McVay. And like I always say about Stafford, who, again, I love and think is amazing and brilliant, he did not win a single thing without Sean McVay, without Detroit. And he immediately looked a whole lot better with Sean McVay. So, is he coordinator dependent when Josh Allen had a bad coordinator? I forget his name right now. They fired him, and then Brady got hired mid-season. Did the Bills get better? Did things look better? Do people credit Dable for helping develop Josh Allen? Yeah, I think so. Patrick Mahomes has had Andy Reid his entire career. And now people are saying, which is hilarious to me, I think it's wrong, the Chiefs have never looked the same ever since they got rid of the enemy. That's why Patrick Mahomes' dip numbers are dipping, and the offense isn't as good. And it's like, huh? Wait. Laughter, wait, huh? If that's true, then you're saying that Patrick Mahomes is relying on a coordinator, on a coach. So I guess it doesn't all come down to just him. That's interesting, huh? Maybe all quarterbacks are at the mercy of their coordinators or offensive head coach. Interesting. People are saying Caleb Williams is the next Josh Allen, which, by the way, is ridiculous. How did he look with Ben Johnson and without Ben Johnson? Oh, okay. Got it. Revolutionary, all-time generational talent, Trevor Lawrence. How has he looked with various coaches out the course of his career? Is he better with better coaches and worse with worse coaches? That's interesting. I didn't know that's how it worked. I thought coaches were just kind of just there just because, like, we need a coach. You need someone there. Maybe they do something. And so I just want to know that when the Eagles seemingly have a lot of returning pieces, specifically on offense, and things kind of take a turn, there's kind of a back step. The immediate focus is on Jalen Hurds and nowhere else. And now people are talking about coaching and this and that, but I just don't get it. And this is where I'd really, I cannot suggest this enough. Go to Kurt Warner's YouTube channel, and he has like a 25-minute break. I watched it last night at like 3 in the morning. I live for this. I love it. And he breaks down all the throws, all like the bad throws, right? Like the things that went wrong for the Philadelphia Eagles. He went through the interceptions and the could have been interceptions, the turnover worthy play, something that a lot of people have struggled with. And I love that Kurt Warner specifically broke down film on throws that did not lead to an interception, because it just shows you how that's why you talk about turnover worthy plays, because it matters. That's what you do as a coach and as a player. You still go through those moments. You don't just say, well, it wasn't a turnover, so it doesn't count. It's not the way it works. It's not the way it worked for Kurt Warner. It's not the way how it should work for you. But you see that you see it. And he does such a beautiful job. You don't really need to know football. You don't really need to know the jargon that he's talking about. You could just be a fan and don't know all the X's and O's. Doesn't matter. The way how he explains some of the issues can be completely dumbed down. I always try my best to speak in the most like basic of ways to go about it. I think I'm a big fan of being less technical than anything else. And you can see that you can see where coaching can really put players in positions to succeed and elevate. And you can see even like a part where Devontae, I don't want to say wrong, he ran the wrong route, because I don't think it was on him. Like I don't know how it was coached. I don't know how they taught, but he was kind of talking about like the one interception where he fell down, where, again, in a nutshell, pretty much if he went more outside the numbers, right? If he kind of ran a little bit wider before now, he cuts back. That would have forced the defense in a position where he wouldn't have been able to jump the route as easily. And he also said, like, kind of like, listen, this defender probably, people are concerned that the Eagles defense is a little too elementary or predictable. And he goes, I don't think it's elementary. That's what Kurt Warner said. So how about that? But he says it can be predictable. And he goes, and I think that this defender probably knew what was happening. So he was able to kind of jump the route. But also, if the route was run in a different way, it kind of protects against that. And the other play now with the interception in the back of the, in the end, in overtime, he kind of wasn't, he didn't hate it. It was an RPO, and we talked about how the throw was really kind of perfect, but the defense, made a great play, but also because of how the route was run with Dodson, I believe it was Dodson, that route wasn't deep enough. And so the defender in the middle, who I think was also cover, who was had to focus on Dallas and Dodson, I think that's who it was. He was able to easily kind of just be where he was at and be able to make that play. Whereas if Dodson went a little bit deeper, he can't do that. He's not in that position to be able to make that play. And which then now makes things easier for Jalen, not only for the throw if he wants, or if that defender now tries to really, back up and really commit, he can then do a little dump off pass to, again, I think got hurt or just kind of run himself, use Dallas as a blocker, whatever it is, whatever the exact case is, or just it's just a more obvious throwaway in that moment. And so you can see what great coaching can do. Even if you're calling great plays, it's how are you actually running them in practice? How are you actually coaching them? How are you actually executing them? And that is why Andy Reid can get someone like Guju or MVS or whatever names you want to use. They can have brilliant years because he's like, I know how, not only do I know how to call the plays the right times, but like, I know how to put you in the positions where you need to be every single time. And I can demand and enforce and make sure you are in the exact right spot. I'm sure there are some coaches where, let's just say you run a route and let's just say you didn't go deep enough. You have some coaches that are going to be like, hey man, you didn't run deep enough. You got to make sure you go deep enough. Okay, you understand that? And the guy's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you have other guys that are like, listen, look at me. You can't do this. You can't have this. We got to keep working at let's go, let's go, let's go. Do it again, do it again, do it again, again, right? Like again, there's just different levels. There's different levels of practice. There's different levels of execution. It's why some teams feel so buttoned up and execute at the highest level and why other teams are not. If we want to say that Andy Reid or Ben Johnson or Sean McVay are brilliant play callers and that's all they were doing, calling the plays, and they didn't do anything else in practice and the practices were real loose and whatever. No matter how brilliant of a play caller you are, no matter how brilliant the game plan is, if you're not executing at a high level because of you practicing and putting in the work and doing what needs to be done when we're not watching, it's like it's a difference between winning and losing. So like that's another huge aspect of coaching. It's why like a Dan Campbell does deserve a lot of credit, even if he wasn't calling the plays with Ben Johnson, et cetera, because he was the one that was responsible for saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, do it again, do it again. I don't like the way how our offense looked last week. Like, we need to work on this, Ben. Like, this is what we're doing, man. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Like, all of that stuff really does matter. And it's why I gave Nick Sirianni tremendous credit for getting that team ready for the Super Bowl. And when they're not ready, like against the New York Giants, yeah, he deserves some blame as well for that. And if they look sloppy one week and then the next week they look sloppy again, you're just like, all right. But I just want to know why this always falls on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts. And I think that's where you look at Jalen. And again, that's why I really suggest watching the Kurt Warner clip, because I think it's awesome. And the one throw that almost led to an interception, and he like, you know, it was a bad throw, is like something that every quarterback has done in the history of the world. He's like, but it was the right read, the right throw. But he was just talking about like how, you know, he made his decision in a nutshell. He made his decision to throw sooner. And so he wasn't on time with AJ in that moment. And so he kind of had to wait. And then it just got disconnected. And again, that's more coaching. That's helping Jalen get his feet more in rhythm and more in time with his throw. Understanding also now, because then Kurt, who will explain it way better than I ever would in terms of what read you're looking to first. And that's when you can have two different opinions of pretty much where are you looking first, and you know, there's just different views on that. And I didn't play a quarterback at the NFL level, so I don't have a strong opinion on it. But this is where Kurt Warner is very vocal about how he was coached and how he was taught. And I love it because when you listen to him talk, if you ever been coached by someone before, it really just continues to reinforce that even at the NFL level, even at the highest level, even when you achieve all you could ever ask for, you're being exposed to different coaches with different philosophies. There's just never one way to do something. And so that is a problem when you have so many different coaches, because you have to constantly learn or unlearn things, and you have to try to figure out who do you trust versus who don't you trust. And it's just tricky. And so it's just something that not all players have. Listen, to be fair, Baker hasn't had that luxury, right? Like, lots of players have not had that luxury. And yeah, there are some players that can overcome it more easily, right? The whole so-and-so is coordinator dependent, as like it's like a negative. It's like it for everyone. We can't say that Andy Reid hasn't elevated Mahomes, right? We can't. I mean, Tom Brady to this day still gives so much credit to Bill Bitch and those weekly meetings of how I would beat you, Tom, you know? And it's just like, it just matters tremendously. And it is fascinating to me why some quarterbacks get that huge benefit of the doubt while others don't. And even something as little as the Bucs losing here and regressing, we're just like, well, Baker didn't get worse, you know, Liam Cohen left, and that's a problem. But with the Eagles from the jump, it was Jalen's holding this team back. I mean, that was the conversation. Jalen is just simply holding this team back. It's like, what? How do we keep getting there? And I am on the record, and I said it in the Baker video, and so it's only fair that I say here, I think at this point there really is only one quarterback who is the most resistant, and resilient, most resilient, not resistant, most resilient to poor coaching, to bad coordinating, play calling, etc., etc. And I think that's Josh Allen just because of the sheer size and physical strength of what he can over what he can overcome. And to be very clear, that doesn't mean that he can just keep winning without great coaching, because he can't. But can he endure it a little bit more reliably? Yes. Just by virtue of his sheer size and strength, he's just going to be a more resilient than just like if Jalen Hurts was more confident running these days, like when you have that mobility and strength factor. Yeah. And the truth is, I saw Jalen Hurts resilient to it in the beginning of the season, especially against the Dallas Cowboys, against the Minnesota Vikings. And both those games, I pointed out, those games did not tell me anything. About Kevin Patullo, I said all the big plays that were done, all the points that were scored, that was Jalen Hurts being magical, man. And that's great, but you can only run on that for so long. And now Jalen has been struggling with a little bit of that me, because there's times I'm just like, okay, things are kind of a mess. Jalen, it is time for you now just to take over. And we haven't quite seen that. And that is because I think there is kind of a strong hesitation for him just to kind of really take off and run. And it's not just take off and run, it's also scrambling to run to extend plays. It's not just use my legs, let me run for 56 yards. Like, I'm not necessarily saying that either, but the core of it is definitely like, I'm using my legs for something. I got to extend the play here. I got to buy some time, whatever it may be, rip off a devastating 10, 15-yard run, convert Josh Allen 3rd and long, converting with his legs, right? Like, to me, that's more than just, hey, I'm a mobile quarterback. Like, it's situational playmaking. It's not just, Kyler Murray is hypermobile. He's not doing what like Josh Allen is doing, and certainly not in the moments that Josh Allen is doing. And we saw Jalen Hurts do it in those big moments, especially like in Super Bowls and other playoff games. And we don't see it as regularly in the random Week 10 game, right? That's something that we, throughout the course of Jalen's career, we haven't always seen. And I don't know if it's conscious. I don't know if when he's in the playoffs and in these true big games, he's just has a different mentality or a different willingness to. I really don't know. But I do think that there is a little bit of a difference in that. And I'm not entirely sure. But watch that Kurt Warner clip. I'll just end there. Watch that Kurt Warner clip and try to figure out why some quarterbacks, it's like, what do you want him to do? It's coaching. And for Jalen Hurts, it's no, Jalen Hurts just not good enough. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.